Welcome to Delphine Circle in Harmonium, where conscious conversations spark transformation. I'm your host, Delphine Channels. Let's jump in. Hi, today I'm being joined by a woman on a mission to revolutionize health. Trish Mangold, the holistic health practitioner and founder of the Mangold Method, is here. She's going to talk about chronic disease, hormone chaos, burnout, all of the things that we're dealing with, and give us some good answers for it. So, Trish, welcome to the circle.
Hi, Delphine. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too.
So what I'd like to do is start at the heart of your work. I have actually heard you say more than once, you're just 72 hours away from discovering what your strengths are and what your body's needs for support. 72 hours, huh?
Yeah. So this is where the 72-hour water fast comes in. And before you feel triggered or think that I'm a little bit crazy, this is really activating a healing state in your body. It's an opportunity to lead into a state where, in the absence of food, when we're not eating, we optimize and we find out, energetically, emotionally, physically, and mentally, where we need support. So there's certain milestones. I like to say there's no such thing as a failed fast, whether you make it 13 hours or 72 hours or somewhere in between. There's certain milestones that you hit that are happening in the body that can really activate our thrive state and give clues as to our next best steps and how we can build a fasting lifestyle around this.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up because I have become a fan of fasting, mostly because of you and all of the direction you've been providing. And I have done a couple fasts over the past couple years, and I love the experience that I've been getting from it. Partly because I typically lose weight, I feel lighter and cleaner, but also I've noticed a lot of shifts both mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Talk to us about why that happens.
Well, that's such a great question. And honestly, it's why even as a holistic health practitioner, I decided to get certified with Dr. Mindy Pelz, who in the art and science of fasting, so that I can really understand how to navigate a woman's hormonal challenges, whether she's in her fertile years, menopausal or postmenopausal. And then for men too, because what's happening in a fasted state, a lot of us are familiar with the intermittent fasting, and this is, the range between 13 to 15 hours where we're reducing our insulin resistance. And this is where the metabolic dysfunction healing starts to happen. So there was a study of about 2,400 women from the ages of 27 to 70 who had gone through traditional breast cancer treatment. And they studied them over many years. And this group of women did at least 13 hours of fasting every night. And they had a 64% reduction in breast cancer reoccurrence. So if that alone isn't motivating you to step into a fasting, even an intermittent fasting lifestyle, I don't know what would be.
So should everybody intermittent fast? Like, why wouldn't we intermittent fast, right? Because it really is not that difficult.
Yeah. Intermittent fast, 13 to 15 hours is pretty healthy for just about everyone. I would say, unless you're, pregnant, maybe just listen to your body. But when you step into the science of the longer fasts, there are times of a cycle that you wouldn't want to do longer than 13 hours. And there are times that are brilliant to step into the longer fast, like say a 17-hour autophagy fast, which is where your body is cleaning up old cells that aren't really working. They're boosting the cellular energy, so we feel more energized. It's anti-cancer, antiviral, antibacterial. There's milestones at 24 hours. It's called the gut reset fast. And we know that our happy feel-good hormones are produced in our gut. And when we reset that microbiome, it's more than just the absence of food. Our microbiome it plays such a significant role in our mood regulation and how we metabolize our hormones and process the excess and improve our nutrient absorption. So there's different milestones along the way. And I'm happy to go into those in more detail if you like.
Yes, absolutely. Because I feel like we could just do a whole show on fasting, right? There's so much information that's emerging. There's so many people that are tuning into this. And I think men especially have been noticing the benefits. I know quite a few of my guy friends that have really leaned into the whole intermittent fasting and are seeing great benefits from it. So if you're not doing it, you might want to consider it. Give Trish a call about that.
Actually, Delphine, that reminds me, I had a friend that had acute issues with his GI bleeding, and was even at the hospital in the moment when it was happening, and they couldn't find the source of it. And, you know, he was an intermittent faster, and so was familiar with that, but he immediately stepped into his first 72-hour fast, and his symptoms have never returned.
Wow.
So
It's really amazing for healing. And I feel like people don't know how powerful it is. Again, I'd say a 3-day fast, if I got any bad news about disease or anything, that would probably be the first thing I would lean into.
yeah,
Right?
it's remarkable. And you surprise yourself, and it's not just the absence of food, it's a mental game, it's an emotional game. You can do hard things, and then it's like no one could take that away from you. You didn't outsource your power to a pill or something else to get you through that healing state.
Well, and I know that you've worked with clients that come to you that have, they've tried every supplement, they've done the diets, they've done the lab tests, and they're still just not getting the benefits. I mean, they're still feeling stuck. Why do you think this is?
It's a great question. A lot of stuff just doesn't show up on a blood serum test. And if a lot of stuff like the emotional dysregulation, and I always say there's no such thing as bad emotions, but there's heavy emotions and there's higher vibrational emotions that we want to tap into. But we need to be able to express ourselves confidently and feel seen and heard, and effectively communicate with our loved ones how we feel and what our needs are. And often, we put our own needs on the back burner, and we're caretakers for others, and we lose sight of where we want to go. So I feel like a fast is the question was about blood tests. So what's circulating in your blood doesn't necessarily mean what your body's absorbing. So you could have normal or optimal ranges of something, but unless you're looking at methylation status, you're not really looking into how your body's using what's circulating in the blood. Maybe your cells are inflamed and your tissues and your organ systems aren't able to really absorb what's going on and circulating and moving around the body. So that can explain why lab results come back looking good on paper, but you don't feel that on the inside.
Yes. Well, that makes sense. And I've also heard you use this term diagnosis trap. Like, what is a diagnosis trap? Is that part of like what people are hearing from blood tests, or is that like a doctor's office? And then how do people break out of that?
So, we often are kind of stuck in the rut of chasing symptoms of imbalance. And a diagnosis is really just a collection of symptoms that, a doctor can look at a form and check the boxes and be like, oh, this is the label that we're putting to these group of symptoms. But it doesn't address the root cause, what's upstream and what could be downstream of this dysregulation. So often the energetic and the emotional, doesn't, and the physical manifests as a physical imbalance. So for instance, feeling less triggered or seeing things through a different lens can give, and just the act of giving yourself permission to say, okay, these symptoms, I'm just going to let go, but I need to look at maybe optimizing how I hydrate myself, my mineral levels, I need to look at my genetic weaknesses, and maybe I can bridge the gap there so that what's circulating in my blood and the nutrition that I'm putting in my body, maybe I need to do a little gut cleanse to release the accumulated plaque that's hindering my ability to absorb the nutrients that I'm putting in my body. Then I'll see some shifts in the symptoms. The skin rashes go away, the mental clarity becomes brain fog becomes something of the past, and you're not bringing those things with you to your present.
It makes so much sense. I think what I feel so often is that people are relying so heavily on their doctors telling them they're okay or not okay, as opposed to really feeling into themselves. Like, what do they feel? What is their intuitive nudge inside telling them? And are they doing all of the things? My son, we tease him because he's always telling me he's tired. And I'm like, okay, but what are you doing to support yourself? What are you doing so that you're making sure you're getting enough sleep? And so often we just look for a diagnosis or a fix or a pill outside of ourselves without really leaning into what we're doing inside of ourselves. And is that something that you talk to your clients about?
Yes, because the diagnosis often leads to a label. It becomes part of our identity. I am diabetic, therefore we limit what's possible for us. And then we have to eat a certain way, or we have to take our insulin, and that looks good on paper. But again, the root cause is still the inflammation. The root cause is still upstream dysregulating our hormones. and leaving unstifled, leaving our potential on the table. So when it comes to your situation of your son and, tapping into sleep and seeing how he can, more tap into deeper sleep. Yeah, these are important things if he's not looking at that. Sleep is essential.
So talk to me about, you recommended a detox program for me, which I did. And it was amazing. It was awesome. A lot of people are hearing more about fasts and about detox, but you kind of take it a step further. And can you talk to me a little bit about how you guide your clients while they're going through detox? Because you actually gave me a lot of information about prepping for it, post detox and post cleanse. What are the other aspects that you're bringing to your clients' experience?
There's integration, but before I get to that, I really want to talk about this concept of, again, where the diagnosis goes, it points to the bad guys. It looks at the parasites, the heavy metals, the dysregulation of the microbiome. So you have a label of leaky gut or gut dysbiosis. But really, when my approach is different in the sense that we look at optimizing the systems. So again, things could be circulating in your blood, but if your system isn't optimized, your cells aren't working at their optimal level, your cell energy is not getting the fuel that it needs inside the cell because of insulin resistance or inflammation, then whatever you do from the outside in isn't going to work. So we have to optimize the terrain, the ability to function, and then that kind of takes care of bringing the rest of the body in balance, if that makes sense.
So talk to me about the prep though and the integration, because that was such a beautiful part of what you did for me.
Oh, great. Yeah. So I think getting rooted to your why, first of all, not just your what. So this helps you really, when life gets busy or challenges come your way, come back to your why will get you back on track. So, that's part of life, right? And your why can change, but it's good to have 30-day goals, 60, 90-day goals, and long-term goals for that. Those goals could be emotional, mental, and physical. It's not just a number on a scale. It's how will you feel when you reach what you think you want to achieve in life. When you have those connections in your relationships, how will you feel? And when you match your vibration with those intentions of how you want to feel, you can really collapse the timelines on this transformation. And as far as integration, we can move through a 7-day cleanse. We can move through a 3-day hydration protocol, and there's or a extended fast, and it becomes more of a lifestyle because you're using the insights you gained during that process to see where you want to continue and where there's room for improvement, and to fully integrate it into part of a lifestyle that feels doable and it's flexible around your social and work and family commitments.
I remember I kept going back to that why question that you asked, because what I found is when I really thought about why I was doing the cleanse and like what I wanted to get out of it, it really helped my mindset not focus on the hunger. I actually wasn't really very hungry. I feel like I set myself up, like I was so stressed out about like, oh, I'm going to be starving. Like I thought it was going to be super painful, and it wasn't. And I really just kept coming back to why was I doing this? What was going on in my body, why this was important to me. And it really, I think that setting that mindset, setting that intention in advance really did a lot to help ease the process.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that, because often it's not the hunger. It's not what we think is going to be the challenging moment. It's the mental game. It's the healthy state changers, because often we're just using food as a state changer. It's finding tools and reconnecting with yourself, writing a love letter to yourself. It's putting on a song that makes you happy and singing or dancing like no one's watching. It's calling up a friend that maybe you haven't talked to in a while and just let them know how much they've impacted your life, or things that have been unsaid that you want to say. Or, one of the biggest tools is forgiveness. And forgiveness is perhaps the greatest gift you can give yourself. And whether that's for yourself or for another person, it's not about letting somebody off the hook or condoning a behavior, and it's not about beating yourself up for something. In fact, I don't even like to rehash whatever it is, because when you repeat these stories, and often when we're talking about our symptoms and our diagnoses, you're repeating these stories, your cells are listening, and you're reinforcing these patterns of these negative feedback loops. So when you get rooted in your why, when you come back to where you want to go, then you have these deeper transformations and a lasting kind of focus on exactly what you can create in life.
So I want to talk to you about personalization. This is something that's really come up and we're hearing a lot more about, and we talked a little bit about it in our last conversation together about there's so many personalized tools now for finding your best approach. So tell me a little bit about what a roadmap would look like if you were to bring in the power of personalization.
For sure. And, genetics plays a huge role. And a lot of us have a lot of misconceptions and fear around our genetics. Why do I want to find out something if it's in my genes? Isn't that fixed? And, if it's in my fate, well, I'll just deal with it when it comes. But the truth of the matter is, and if you've ever explored the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton or Joe Dispenza, just our power of our thoughts and changing our environment can really impact how our genes are expressed. And we have way more control than we've been led to believe. This is the modern science of epigenetics. To strengthen our genetic expression, we can really put weaknesses on the back burner, and they might not ever even manifest in our reality. When we work at the frequency level, that's with thoughts, with personal wearable devices, we can really overcome and nip imbalances before they even become a reality in the bud. And with genetics, there's a simple cheek swab from SNP Nutrigenomics. I love what they're doing. They've made it really accessible and affordable. You don't need a doctor's appointment. You can simply order the test. It gets delivered to your door. It's a simple, painless cheek swab, and it's measuring 103 actionable genes that you can it formulates a customized formula that bridges the gaps in your genetic weaknesses. So that takes the guesswork out of what your body needs in the formats your body needs. And you're not burdening your body with supplements that, you're not wasting your money and time and energy on supplements that your body doesn't need. So
I just love this. I really feel like this is the future, right? This is where we're going. This is the edge of innovation with healthcare. It's about personalizing it, not just taking blanket statements, and also losing the story, losing the story that, oh, we get this disease in our family. Even just that thought, even that belief system is chronic, it creates chronic disease. So I love what you're saying, and I really do think that this is the direction that we all need to be thinking about and moving into. I know that you've not been a big person for supplements in the past. You've always kind of told me, I'm not super into the whole stuff. And mostly because of that, right? That most people are taking stuff that they don't really need. They've heard it on a commercial or a social media post, and they go, oh, okay, that's what I need. And it's funny, I was listening to that Zach Bush interview the other day, and he was talking about Dave Asprey. He didn't use the name, but he said the founder of biohacking. So he was giving you a hint. And he was saying that he takes over 100 supplements a day. And that's moving away from biology, right? That's moving into chemistry, and that's not really the way our bodies work. Yeah. And so I love that concept, and I love this whole area of personalization, and I definitely want you to guide me down that, because I think that's the next place I'm ready to go. Yeah,
if I can share with you a recent testimony that came across my desk. A 28-year-old nonverbal autistic male was on his custom formula from SNP Nutrigenomics for 2.5 months, nonverbal for 28 years, started speaking to his parents and telling them what it was like to live inside his body, and that the noise in his brain was just so overpowering he couldn't get words out.
Wow. And
so they had some genetic tests that I've seen the before and afters, and his methylation status is insane. Went down to 0. Went from a very
methylation status.
Okay, so methylation is like looking at what's circulating in your blood, but not understanding how your body can utilize it. Methylation one aspect of methylation can show you how you're using what's circulating.
It's like how your body absorbs it, right?
Yeah, in a sense. And yes, that's the best way I can explain it right now. And also, when you turn genes on and off at the right time. And so for epigenetics and healthy gene expression, methylation is important. Methylation gets a lot of buzz around B vitamins. Can you process B vitamins? A lot of people, I think the WHO says 40% of people have a methylation mutation, but the people that are coming through to SNPs, they're actually seeing it's somewhere in the range of 70%. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So people think they have food sensitivities or gluten sensitivities, but often it's this reaction they're getting to the fortified flours that we're having that have been methylated or fortified with B vitamins, and we just can't process those like we can. We need a little extra support, so I'll put it that way. And when we take the supplement that helps bridge the gaps in our methylation pathways and in our detox pathways, we're better equipped to adapt with life's challenges and move forward in the way that we want to, with more vitality and resilience. So
awesome. And so does this test help to understand your methylation
it does
behavior?
It's a cheek swab. It doesn't show you the methylation as much as the age code genetic test does. And so I will say, if you're taking the age code genetic test, which is also can be found in my link in bio in my Instagram, but there's a way that we can use that data from that test to get your SNP formula for your code complex. So you don't necessarily have to buy both tests outright.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what I would love to hear, give me an example of a client that came to you that was feeling, had some health issue, and they used the Mangold Method. To talk to me about, share a story.
Oh, one of my favorites that comes to mind is she's a woman, and she was in her mid to late 30s, and she came to me she found me on Instagram. She actually lives in Canada. She's a general practitioner, and she was struggling. Her and her partner were struggling to conceive.
She was a general practitioner.
She was a doctor, a general practitioner, and she was struggling to have a baby, to get pregnant. Her husband had a child from a previous marriage, but she just wasn't sure what was going on, doing all the things, doing all the tests, and very grounded, very, checked all the boxes on the surface. So I decided to look more at her energetic pathways, and we worked with frequency medicine, or personalized frequencies to open up the detox pathways and to support flow of energy, and fertility frequencies and meridian frequencies. So energy lines and emotional and mental frequencies. We talked about getting grounded in nature, optimizing mineral replenishment. So that helps with cellular function, and also using targeted fermented enzymes to go through the body. And really, we targeted the kidneys and the gut and the liver and the gallbladder for both male and female factor fertility. And the most beautiful thing happened. Within about 2 months, she started showing signs of ovulation. And before the 3rd month, she couldn't believe it, but she had a positive pregnancy test.
Oh my God. That's a great
It gives me chills
test.
talking about it.
I know, I got chills just hearing about it. Wow, what a beautiful example. And fertility, that's a huge issue for a lot of people.
It's affecting 1 in 5 couples today. And that's really, 1 in 5 couples are struggling to conceive after a year or longer of trying. And IVF isn't a guarantee. So I've been down the road with IVF and surrogacy and the emotional and the financial and the mental and the physical toll of that. So it's really near and dear to my heart to help people navigate that world and to optimize where their dollars are spent and to where their energy is spent, and to really navigate it with confidence, because it can be confusing, it can be lonely, and it can be isolating.
I think this is probably a good opportunity too for you to explain a little bit more about microcurrent frequencies and using frequency medicine, because this is something you and I are both passionate about, and we don't hear a lot about that. Definitely not in the news.
Right.
Nobody's talking about it. Doctors aren't telling you about it, and yet it's been so powerful and so transformative in my life, and I know in your life as well. And we are both on using Healy, although there's quite a few other modalities I think that we both incorporated. But having an understanding about how energy affects our bodies and can be so effective in the healing process. I'd love for you to share more on that.
Well, I'll try to keep it succinct. I mean, reel me in if you have to, because it's a big topic. So our bodies speak frequency and energy. Our emotions create energy and frequency in our body. Our universe is communicating energy and frequency. The ground, when we walk barefoot, we're getting frequency from the earth. We're getting it from the sun. So when we've got this brilliant opportunity, the brilliant mind of Marcus Schmieke, the founder of Healy, a German man who was an Ayurvedic monk in his current life, spent many years in India discovering and learning the principles of Ayurveda, but he really also studied physics. So he had this brain of the Western philosophy, the Eastern philosophy, the science, and he brought this amazing device that can be used by an individual that doesn't need to know exactly how it works.
Because I don't. I don't speak physics.
Right. But you do, but not on an intellectual level.
Right,
you do because
right.
your body understands it without
yeah.
needing it. That's why animals, when you use the frequency device on animals, they have quick transformations on kids. But our adult minds become questioning and skeptical. But if we just surrender with flow and trust, I have to say I've been using my Healy device. I use it daily since you introduced it to me, since March 2020. And I was dabbling in the gold cycles, 7 foundational cycles. And I didn't know what it was going to do for me. I just kind of was playing around with it for a couple of weeks. And microcurrent frequency, you wear wrist straps that deliver individualized microcurrent frequency. No 2 sessions are the same. Each program has roughly 500 frequencies in it. It's delivering microcurrent frequencies that increase cellular energy up to 500%. For those of you know that what ATP is, that's your mitochondria. If you've heard of mitochondrial dysfunction, they're saying this is also the root cause of a lot of dysfunction. Mm-hmm. 1 session improving ATP up to 500%. Protein synthesis up to 70%, amino acid transport up to 40%. What does that really mean? It means repair, digest. The frequencies are going to your body where it needs it most. All you're doing is surrendering to the flow and trust. You're having a mindset shift. You're giving yourself permission to create a new reality. And when you work with frequencies, you're collapsing timelines. You're not working matter to matter. So you're getting to where you want to be in a faster way. That's the most simple way I can put it. I mean, there's frequencies for your environment to charge your water. You can wear them. You can put them in your information field. You can scan your body to see what frequencies are most resonating with you.
That's what I love.
Yeah.
I love that you can actually give yourself a scan and see what it is, where you're deficient and where you need a little additional help, which is awesome. I've got to share a story that you told me because I just crack up all the time, that on the Mag Healy, which is the environment Healy, it has a relationship program. And you told me one night, I said, Trish, does it really work? Because it came out and you were the first to get it. And I was like, Trish, should I get it? Does it really work? And you go, I don't know, but I was running the relationship program last night and Guy was getting all cuddly.
That's funny.
I'm like, sign me up.
The other one was I put the sleep programs on, and the first week we both missed early morning appointments, and we never really set alarms. We just normally wake up, but we both slept in. Wow. So we had to get used to that too.
That's so powerful.
Yeah. And then when I was first using my gold cycles, I didn't know what it was going to do for me. It helped me with a known bacterial infection and also with heavy period issues. I normalized my flow to a manageable situation where I don't have to, have life-changing moments.
Yes. No, and I know that is, for almost everybody that has used the Healy has a beautiful story about it. So yeah, it's very, very common. So let's talk about the person who's listening and they're saying, you know what, this is me. I feel stuck. I don't know really why I'm not feeling my best. I don't even know where to begin to start figuring this out. If they came to you, Trish, where's the best place for somebody to start?
Well, first of all, I want people to know that, whatever you're going through right now, it's temporary. Give yourself permission to reimagine a better reality. You almost don't even have to attach yourself to an outcome because you might not even be able to imagine how good it can get. And that's especially when you're working with these modalities. And I want you to know that a diagnosis doesn't have to be a life sentence. Your genetics aren't your fate. You have way more control, and take your power back. It starts with thoughts. Guided meditation is something amazing. I love the brain tap. I love the Healy frequencies, and I just invite you to step into, play with some extended fasting. Bring your dinner out an hour earlier. push your next meal back an hour later and see where you're feeling, some flow, and where do you feel stagnation and where do you feel stuck, and then come talk to me and we can figure it out together. I love linking arms with people. I always say, I just empower people to be their own best healer and then decipher the noise, because there's a lot of noise out there, and it's not too hard to cut through it when you adopt these principles of kind of using your symptoms as tools and insights instead of wanting to mask them.
So I want to go back to something we touched on a little bit earlier, because I feel like it's so important, and I think it's such a cornerstone of the work that you do. And that is when we dive into our emotions and our past experiences and our trauma and how that can affect a person's health level. Can we go into it a little bit more about how do you work with somebody to really help them uncover what are those maybe hidden blocks, and how to bring forgiveness or whatever to that?
Yeah, I really love these moments where you step into an a fasted state, and then that cuts out the noise of inputs. But then when you layer in the things like fermented enzyme cleanses that are targeted to really release the accumulation of the heaviness, the emotions, not just the physical detox, but it's the emotional, the spiritual. And with a one-day gut cleanse, you can really kind of let go of what you're holding on to and bringing into your present. And then, stepping into a liver cleanse, a one-day liver cleanse helps with it's called the forgive cleanse for a reason. I mean, you're stepping into releasing shame, blame, and guilt, carrying that around. And maybe it's not even a conscious thing. And in fact, I think I've mentioned before that I don't even want people to really rehash it all, because your cells are listening. It's just about surrendering and trust and knowing that it's your birthright to heal and feel better. And that when you take these intentional steps and get rooted to your why and just step into it when it feels manageable and feels flexible around your lifestyle, it doesn't have to be this big life-changing, altering, living in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights and fasting. It's about taking baby steps and integrating it into your lifestyle, because it's really what you're building is a lifestyle, so that you're more adaptable to handle everyday stressors and see the challenges and the opportunities, and where you can grow and stretch and feel more connected to self and centered and grounded to our loved ones.
Well, I had no idea that our organs held emotion. And when you were prepping me for the cleanse and you started talking about the different emotions that are held into the different organs, I was like, really? Okay, this is very unique. But when I was going through the detox, when I was going through the cleanse, I actually felt a lot of those emotions bubbling up. And when I was done with it, I didn't only feel lighter on a physical level, I literally felt lighter on an emotional level. And so I know this sounds crazy, people listening going, wait, what? Like, you can really overcome challenges from your experience in your lifetime, but we hold energy in our body and in our organs. And when you do the cleanse, those things come up and come out. So yeah, it's super powerful. And I also like your point that you don't necessarily it's not about you have to go and dig up every bad experience that you've ever had. Even just the intention, setting the intention that I want to let go.
Right.
Your body, your soul knows what it is that you need to release in order to get back into alignment, and just giving ourselves permission, taking that time, being quiet with oneself to really feel into that. And so I'm so appreciative that you bring that to your coaching, because I really know that that's so much of what people need. And we do have a group of coaches that we all work with. So if somebody needs a little more specific help, we have friends that we can refer to, and people that do energy work and things like that too, which is great.
Absolutely. What I'm finding is a lot of practitioners and people linking arms with them is amazing, because the work I do really complements, the holistic approach. And so I love doing that. And it's very rewarding to see people be their own hero of their own journey.
Yes, I love it. I love it too. So what do you think, if you were to summarize it, if there's one point that you wanted somebody to take away today, what do they need to know about their body and their body's ability to heal?
Yeah, well, it's your birthright to heal, right? Okay. First of all, and you're not your diagnosis, you're not your symptoms, but you can turn your diagnosis and symptoms into your superpower by understanding how to support the internal terrain. And then symptoms and diagnoses can kind of just go away, or at least with the fasting lifestyle and the regular enzyme cleanses and the frequency work. This Mangold method is about a framework, creating a lifestyle that continues to evolve with you.
So what are the 12 steps in the Mangold method?
That's a great question. So we really need to, there's a framework, but we all want the same things, right? We want better relationships. We want to feel more connected and grounded to self. We want to continue our evolution and to find our purpose and feel joy and do what we love for as long as possible. But how we get there can be a little different. So
it's customized.
It's very customized. And we look at genetics as a blueprint. As, you know, whether you're doing this SNP nutrigenomic test or the age code test, we look at a fasting lifestyle that's doable for your lifestyle and where you are in your hormone profile. We look at how you want to feel, attaching to your why, and also what's working for you, what hasn't been working for you. So we take in the consideration of really how we can strengthen our systems internally so that we're more resilient to the imbalances and the symptoms and quote unquote inherited familial patterns. That really gives us the freedom to break free from these patterns of unnecessary suffering.
It doesn't sound that hard.
It really isn't. You know, the world of holistic health or health in general can be very confusing and complicated, but it really isn't that hard. When you take it step by step, it's very empowering, and the momentum you can gain is quite surprising.
And is there a typical time frame, or does that vary as well?
There's a lot that can be done in the first 30 days. So we try to break it into phases and layers. We definitely want to, you know, address the liver and gut. And some people can do 2 or 3 liver and gut cleanses and be done with it. Or some people, and move into the lungs, the lymph and blood, and the kidneys. Or some people, you know, can go through the whole system just once, and then we look at maintenance programs. It just depends on where your baseline is. And we want to look at trends too. So blood work often looks at a snapshot in time, but when we look at some of the genetics, methylation pathways and trends over time, we can even reverse cellular age. So,
sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, a simple hydration tip can reduce your cellular age, which is your biological age, which is different from your calendar age, up to 12 years in just 12 weeks. So, I mean,
you're the queen of hydration too. You've always got me going, oh, you need to try this. Nope, you're not stirring your water with the wand. I'm like, no, I don't know about the wand.
That's the fountain of youth, Delphine. Yeah. It's amazing. Structured water with analemma water, I'm a big fan of. It, supports the microbiome. We know that plays a huge role of, hormones and longevity and resilience and mood. And it supports the coherence in the brain, and it lowers inflammation aging. There's something called glycan age, which it looks at, without getting bogged down into the science, but it's about inflammation aging. And that 2 liters of analemma structured water a day can reduce your inflammation age up to 12 years and 12 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty pronounced.
Yeah.
So Trish, if people want to find you and learn more about how to work with you, where's the best place for them to go?
Okay, well, you can find me on Instagram. It's Trish_Mangold, Mangold. I do have a link in my bio where you can find the link to the SNP nutrigenomics test. And for those of you who are called to do that, I'm happy to offer a discount on my 30-day reset personalized plan. So we can book a call together. You can choose to share your results with me on your profile when you set up your test. And when you get your results, we can book a call, jump on a call together and map out a 30-day plan for you. Also on mangoldmethod.com, where you can find more details if you want to go deeper into the 12-week strategies, personalized strategies for up-leveling the best version of yourself.
Wonderful. And of course, we'll put all of this in the description below so people can find it easily and connect with you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Delphine.
Thanks so much for coming. I love listening to you. I can always listen to you, and you've made such an impact in my health. So Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your guidance, and I know everybody that works with you feels the same. So,
Well, I'm just happy to be a guide.
yay.
We're so grateful you joined us for this episode of Delphine Circle. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. And for even more connection, sign up for a free community membership at harmonium.com. See you there.